Hey, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm DJ Impact. We got Simon Street here with us and Sin City Steve. We have no Matt Michaels. I think there was some sort of wrestling, something that was happening in town or late night. And I think he was probably getting drunk and watching indie wrestling. I'm going to say that's the excuse.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, so
At least you got an excuse.
yeah. Well, that'll get you fired too. So keep that in mind. All right.
Oh,
Let's anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you are watching us live, make sure you throw all your comments on our streaming site platforms, YouTube Live, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Also, if you're listening to the podcast, thank you for downloading. In fact, you're gonna have 3 downloads apparently going to happen when you hear this tomorrow. It's gonna be 3 downloads on Monday. Okay, you're gonna have an interview with Chris Bay, an interview with Kenny King, and then you're gonna have wrestling talk. So there's gonna be 3 downloads tomorrow. Make sure you download them all, even if you don't listen to them all at the same time. At least get it locked and listen to it at your pleasure. Okay. All right. A lot of wrestling this week. We're gonna get right to it with our 4-way stop. All right, I'm gonna kick it off with you as always. Sin City Steve, tell us, man, what were your highlights for the week?
Highlights for the week. Orange Cassidy is your new AEW All-Atlantic champion after defeating Pac at Dynamite. Quite honestly, I didn't see this one coming whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it was a great surprise. Say what you will about the gimmick itself, but Orange Cassidy, the guy, is great. He whenever the spotlight is on him, whenever he's in the main event, he always seems to just kick it up a notch. And just that match was no exception. Just expertly done.
Yeah.
Pac looked great in the match as well. So, it definitely wasn't just one-sided. Pac looked amazing in the match, as he always does. I've said it on this show. Pac is probably the most underrated worker in all of AEW. Also, Chris Jericho is still your ROH World Champion after defeating Bryan Danielson on Dynamite. Jericho, Danielson, they're exactly as advertised. They had a very, very solid match. And then there was the ending of the match. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, we'll talk about that in another segment. Elsewhere, Bray Wyatt is fucking back.
Yes.
Hallelujah. We saw him make his appearance at Extreme Rules, but he spoke his first words since he came back at SmackDown in the middle of the ring, and he was very emotional. It was an amazing promo by one of the better creative minds in WWE, and I am genuinely all in for what's to come with Bray Wyatt.
Absolutely agree, man. It was awesome to see him, at himself, So I was like, oh man, you don't really get to see this. So that was pretty awesome. I loved it. Simon Street, man, what you got?
well, I tell you what. I was going to say a little bit about what the city said, but it took it right out of my brain. So, but luckily, Simon Street got a little bit of a backup. So that backup that I had was, oh my gosh, things is popping on WWE Monday Night Raw. And that is, we got him back. Braun Strowman, a.k.a. the cowboy that everybody likes, came in and really made Bobby Lashley look like a bitch. That's going to be honest. Roll through there, look like him. It seems like every time Bobby Lashley needs to take some time off, Braun Strowman is happy to come and do it, because this is going to be the 3rd time that Braun Strowman has put him, I wouldn't say on the shelf, but put him to where he may be on the shelf. But besides the fact, Braun Strowman came out, basically, I think F5 Bobby Lashley like twice. Took him to Suplex City a couple of times. Then
Simon, you keep saying Braun Strowman instead
of. I said Braun Strowman. I meant to say, man, See what you did to me. My apologies. Freaking Brock Lesnar. My gosh, thank you for the correction.
No, it's all
Brock
good.
Lesnar.
I'm thinking I'm tripping.
But hey, that's
I was trying to connect it myself.
I appreciate it. No. Let me get back on track.
All
Freaking Braun Strowman is not the one that did all these things, but Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar basically destroyed the shit out of Mr. The immortal one, whatever you want to call him. So anyway, Seth freaking Rollins comes out and basically beats the shit out of him, and he is now your new United States champion. And it's pretty interesting because I was okay with it. Normally I wouldn't be. Last thing I want to say is just LA Knight is back. We finally got a chance to see LA Knight. Very happy to see him, and all those that cheered him. He said, I'm not here for your asshole. So he is going to be a heel. And if you watched NXT, LA Knight as a heel is the fucking best. So you're going to get the freaking best in having him be a heel. I'm very, very happy because I was a little worried with it being revealed he would come back as LA Knight, that it would be more of a face capacity. I was like, oh, hell no. This dude is the asshole you want to hate. And we're glad to have that very asshole. So, so that's pretty much my 4-way stop.
Yeah.
3 of them stops was freaking Braun Strowman with a Brock Lesnar identity crisis. So my apologies for everybody listening to that.
It is all good, man. 4-way stop for me, man. First off, wanted to shout out the 4-way match you had on SmackDown with, of course, Ricochet, Sheamus, Solo Sikoa, and Rey Mysterio, which was great to how they got him onto the show. That was man, I didn't see that coming. But I'm liking what I see, and I'm interested to see where what's going to happen from there. So anyway, great match overall, though. A lot of great spots in there that was good, and it's cool to see Rey coming out on top and see where that goes. Yes, Bobby Lashley and the Seth Rollins match, man. I tell you, of course we knew Seth Rollins was still going to come out after Bobby was just laid out there, but you know what? You had to do something because it's not going to get a clean 3 count on Bobby just as easy without, it's a regular match. So they had to do something. It made the most sense, and I'm all for it. How about Bobby Fish had a match with Josh Alexander for the Impact World Championship. Good match as well, man. Listen, I'm always a fan of Josh, and it's interesting because I run into people who, I guess, I don't know what they're expecting from Josh. I guess maybe more, I don't know, charisma, or I don't know. To me, I like the idea of him just being a wrestler. He says what he has to say. He does what he do, and that's the end. You don't have to put a bunch of into it. He speaks through his wrestling, and that match was just another part of that. So I'll just stop there with my 4-way stop for this week. I will move right over though into the Too Sweet for the week. All right, Simon Street, what was yours?
So my Too Sweet for the week is again gonna be Sami freaking Zayn. Always a pleasure to see him wrestle. Always a pleasure to see all and everything that is connected through him, because he is just, he should get workhorse of the week, and last week, and the week before last, and the week before last. But the one great was the match that he was involved in Raw, where it basically was he was going up against Riddle. Again, a great freaking match from start to finish. Again, I think usually Sin City Steve, you're pretty good with time limits and stuff. How long was that match? That was a pretty lengthy match, to say.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but yeah, it was definitely a good match, man.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna say like that, and then also too on SmackDown, he had a match again. It was him and Jay that went off against the New Day, and again, just great match from start to finish. And like I say, I don't know what's coming down the pipeline for Zayn, but it is big. And then we obviously know it's going to be related with the bloodline And what's going to happen to that degree, I don't know. A lot of people say it's going to be him and KO, and that may very well be, and that is okay. But one thing you got to say is, man, his buildup is freaking white hot fire, because week in and week out, he is performing for us, and we're seeing like the best of main roster Sami Zayn. I still think the best of Sami Zayn was in NXT when he was going against Cesaro, but this is second to that. So that's my too sweet for the week, Sami Zayn.
Well, I'll tell you this, nothing gets me going than starting the show off with a car crash or some sort of craziness happening that's got cameras moving and people running and people hurt, and kicking off SmackDown with the Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. I thought that was really great. And of course, they had to somehow keep carrying off so they could put Rey on, but hey, that was definitely too sweet for me. Another one happens to be from Impact Wrestling. There was a match, try to get all the names here: Trey Miguel, Alex Zane, Kenny King, Black Taurus, Loretto Kid, and Yuya Uemura, hope I got that name right, in a 6-way scramble match. Man, you can only imagine everything that they could possibly do. They did. I love watching these guys create the moves that they do in the ring, and it just keeps everything exciting. They keep you wanting more, and that's exactly what I was wanting when you was watching this match. Hey, the OC returned. I mean, come on, Gallows and Anderson, man. I'm always a fan. It was good to see them back with AJ Styles. That was definitely a too sweet moment for me. And of course, the DX reunion, right? Watching a bunch of old guys doing things back 25 years ago just has you scratching your head, but okay, fine. All right. We'll sing along to the songs because, that's what we did. And the last thing I'll throw in there, I kind of like the whole Liv Morgan backstage attack on Sonya. I thought that was pretty cool. And then she did that high flying jump off the top. I'm like, okay, Liv, okay, we got a different sign from you. So that was definitely a too sweet moment for me. But Sin City Steve, what you got?
All right, so Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy went out, kicked off Dynamite, had a match that quite honestly should have been saved for a pay-per-view, but it was an absolute banger, and it got Dynamite started off in a great way.
Yeah.
So hats off to those two. Obviously, things are kind of in flux with their feud right now because of Christian's elbow. It's the exact same thing that happened with CM Punk. So, he was out for a long time, with a related thing. Yeah, Christian is going to be out for several more months. It's not cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So, so those guys definitely stepped it up. Swerve and Billy Gunn. Yeah. So here's the thing. Billy Gunn is 58 years old.
Right.
5'8". Yes. 58 years old. And Billy Gunn went out and had a 9-minute match that was very, very solid with Swerve. Solid stuff by both guys.
Yeah.
However, I do have to say the post-match was really what got the too sweet for the week. And that was the whole angle with Smart Mark Sterling trademarking the scissor handshake and the phrase "scissor me," and it's legitimately trademarked. Like he owns the trademark to the phrase "scissor me."
Does he?
Isn't it the whole thing? Scissor me, daddy.
No, it's just scissor me.
It's just scissor me. Oh, okay.
Scissor me. So so that put a new wrinkle into it that was awesome. And Hangman Page gave probably the best Hangman Page promo that I have ever seen Hangman Page cut.
Yeah.
Whether it was New Japan, whether it was ROH, whether it was AEW, the dude spoke with such conviction, actually punched himself and hard-weighed himself, cut himself open. That's passion.
Pretty much.
Ain't lying there.
Okay. Let's go right then to what the WTF is for the week. So listen, I'm a huge fan of Maurice. and I love when I see her. Okay,
Hmm.
but I was,
all.
but I was confused. I don't know. There's a few things that look like they, maybe she got some extra work on her face, which I'm not necessarily so much hating on, although I thought she looked beautiful the way she was. Okay. But then there was a part also in the ring that I understand you got to stage yourself. We know you got to run into the cake, but I don't need you trying to make sure you position yourself so that you can be right at the cake. You got to do a little bit better in like, oops, I had no idea I was right by the cake. Yeah, that's kind of threw me off, Maurice. I was disappointed at that matter. And SmackDown. I talked about this before. You guys have got to cut down the volume when commentary is talking. I'm trying to listen to Cole and
Wade Barrett.
Yeah. And I'm trying to put my ear and listen. I know I'm getting old. Okay. I see all this gray hair. I know I know age is coming. All right. But the music on there is just way too loud. And it's just very difficult to hear them. And I'm speaking mainly when they're talking over the music of the show, usually the intro or coming back from whatever break commercial or even during somebody's intro. But it's just tough because the commentary for me is what makes a lot of the programming. So I don't know. They need to definitely fix that. That's 2 WTFs for me for the week. Simon Street, how about you?
My WTF for the week is, going to be something that you said you really liked, and that was the whole Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville. It's a little cringy because you trying to sell us that Liv Morgan is a deep, dark, disturbed lady is not selling at all. And having to go up against a competitor such as Sonya Deville is not going to help that matters any worse. And I'm going to be highly critical on this.
I don't know. It seemed a little. I could.
It was hokey as shit. She looked like Matt Hardy in freaking AEW. Eventually, she's going to hurt her fucking self because she's forcing it. She's forcing it. And this is my opinion. I'm not going in to sell my perspective to everybody else. There's other people who do that on social media. However, I am saying is she need to take a fucking break. Just take a break, readjust herself. She wants to be hardcore, great. But let's be real. Before her having this title, when did you ever think of her synonymous with hardcore? I'll wait.
I wish
Never.
I would.
In the words of Top Dollar, not never. No, not that kind of hardcore, Sin City. Totally different kind of hardcore. I get what you're saying, and this is nothing bad against her as a person or as an in-ring wrestler. I just feel like they're going in a direction that's hard for her to sell, and they're not giving her the right challengers. Sonya Deville is not that challenger. It's not going to transition well.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
We'll see how it goes, but I will say this: everybody has like a breaking point, right? So even if you have that moment where you can't see somebody being angry. You may even have people that that's family or friends. Man, I could never see this guy angry. Well, somebody done pissed them off, and now you get to really see them like, okay. And that's kind of how I was feeling about her in that moment. She just seems like she was selling the idea about losing that title, how pissed she is about it. Did she sell it good? How did she sell it? I don't know. I mean, to me, it was all right. For you, it didn't sell it. So she looked like she's going to have to, have a little bit more work. Because, hey, I'm always critical on Liv, especially the whole idea of her going up against Ronda. I the very first time, I just thought it was just plain ridiculous. She should have just handed the belt over to Ronda for that match.
Well, 100%. She needs to be like Rey Mysterio and say that she's really, really hurt and she just can't fight Ronda no more because of the toll it's taken on her emotionally. And I quit. And then Triple H is going to come in and says, wait, let's come in my office. Let's talk about this. And she ends up on Raw. That's the best thing that can happen to Liv Morgan because I like Liv Morgan, but this shit is not fucking working.
I got you. All right.
What the fuck?
What was your WTF?
So Impact, you had mentioned things with volume. I'm going to talk a little bit about volume too.
Okay.
Is it just my DVR recording of Rampage, or did AEW actually dampen the pop that FTR got before their match alongside Shawn Spears? And I know it's a shame Michaels isn't here. I know that his Too Sweet of the week would have been Shawn Spears coming back. So I know that he was ecstatic over that. Anyway, no. So obviously they went against Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony, and I didn't notice a killer pop for them in Canada. I'm not being snarky.
Yeah.
I'm being completely serious. It was absolute bullshit if that was the case, if they did dampen or, silence the crowd whatsoever. But, then again, it could just have been my DVR recording, maybe. Anyway, Isaiah Cassidy and Ethan Page had a match on Rampage, and the contracts of Private Party and Matt Hardy were at stake in this match. Fuck me. Are you serious? This shit is still fucking going.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Can we just separate Private Party away from all this bullshit? They deserve so much more, and hell, Ethan Page deserves so much more too. It does appear that thankfully they're pushing him as the number one guy in the firm, so that's good. But still, what the fuck? And last but not least, I'm thankful that no one else said this because now I can unleash my rage on it. Braun Strowman versus Omas. Oh my God. Please fucking no. It looks like as if I've found a bathroom break match if they're doing it on pay-per-view. If they're doing it at Crown Jewel, I'm glad because I won't have to watch it.
Yes, absolutely.
But please just let it be a one and done. Omas is just awful in the ring. Braun has definitely gotten better, but I don't think he can carry Omas to even a serviceable match. What the fuck?
You know what we can do? I got it, guys. We can have Liv Morgan go against Omas.
Oh, God.
Have her climb that tree. And she can be as hardcore as she wants to be. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying, like.
Come on, man.
That sounds like a horrible tape. Wow, scissor me. Next one.
All right, y'all. Let's move over into what we are looking out for. Let's do it. I'm loving the whole thing with the whole Uso storyline, the tribal chief. But this whole thing with Sammy and Jay, and then the tribal chief, I'm just looking to see where all of this is going to go. I'm pretty sure those like Matt Michaels and Sin City Steve already have the playbook.
Oh yeah.
But just watching all of this come about is just it's exciting because I have an idea at what I think is going to happen. But I don't want to say anything yet. but I'm liking what I'm seeing here, and I'm just telling you, I'm just looking out for what the ending of this is going to come out being. The other thing, man, Halloween Havoc. I'm ready. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a lot of good matches on there, and I'm still trying to get used to a lot of the new names that has just kind of come, mostly from the UK. But I'm gonna tell you, I mentioned it before. I am a huge fan of JD Mcdonough. This guy right here. I'll be honest with you. I don't see why they just don't just give him the belt. And even if he has to hold it for a month or two before Braun gets it back, I think he's good enough to validate himself as being a legit champion. And they're selling him as somebody who can handle Braun, who can pretty much handle anyone. I don't see why they don't pull that, and maybe they will, but I'm guessing they probably won't this coming up. But big fan, and I like when you see subtle things. When he was coming to the announce table this past Tuesday, of course he shook Booker T's hand, and then when Vic pulls his hands out. He didn't even pay any attention. He just sat down and continued this conversation. I just love that. JD is awesome, and I can only imagine what he was doing before I was introduced to this guy. But I'm looking forward to all of that, though. That is my looking out for. Let me go over to you, Sin City. What are you looking out for?
So I am looking out for the Hangman Page and Jon Moxley match this Tuesday on Dynamite. It should be great. To be honest, I really wasn't looking forward to it. It was just going to be another match. But the promo that these guys cut on Wednesday really just, I want to see this shit. Also, Dalton Castle versus Chris Jericho on Dynamite.
Okay.
That match was set up on Friday after Chris Jericho defeated it was after a promo segment on Rampage where the JAS talked their shit and they all gloated about everything, including the Daniel Garcia turn, which I think was a huge step back. It borderlined on me mentioning it in the WTF. But again, multiple times that they've done this, but I can kind of see where they're going with it. So I'm hoping that Chris Jericho is going to knock off a few more former ROH world champions. And then it's going to take somebody else picking up the flag and the banner and the honor of Ring of Honor to finally take out Chris Jericho. That's what I'm genuinely hoping for. And I think it will end up being Daniel Garcia. So that should be interesting. But yeah, in the short term, Dalton Castle and Jericho should be great.
I think so.
Also, Rey Mysterio. I am looking so forward to Rey Mysterio versus Gunther. And just watching Gunther beat the shit out of Rey. Seriously, I can't wait for that.
If he can catch him.
Oh, he's going to cave in that man's chest.
You guys aren't even going to get the opportunity to see it.
Oh, man. All right.
I might watch a clip.
Diamond Street.
There's a couple things that I'm looking out for. One of them is the concave chest of Rey Mysterio. I would love to see that. That's about as much as seeing any one of us having our chest caved in by Gunther. But outside of that, a couple of the things I am looking forward to is actually Roxanne Perez. She was on SmackDown in the 6-woman tag team match versus Damage Control. She was alongside Shotzi and Raquel Gonzalez. Really, really cool because, you know, she is somebody from NXT. And even before she was on NXT, she's been in the game for quite a minute. So she wasn't really so much of a rookie type thing if people who didn't know about her career beforehand. So good to see her up there. I'm hoping that she's going to be making, I don't know, more of a presence on SmackDown moving forward. Yeah. I'd love to see it. It'd be great to add her in there. We can take out some other people who aren't that great, put her in there. I think it's great. Other than that, too, Candice LeRae, super, super excited. Had a win over, Bailey, and it was a really good match, and we're glad to have her, join the women's division, and it looks like she's going to be a main player to a certain extent, you know what I mean? And I'm very happy to see that. And then last but not least, looking forward to see what's going to happen with regards to Hit Row. 2 weeks in a row, Legado del Fantasma has really made them bottom out, looking like just what are we looking at? And even that match a little bit, I would be a little critical too. There's some stuff to where it kind of looked like there was no energy in there. But I'm hoping maybe, you know what I'm talking about. Top Dog looked like he gave up already. But anyways, besides the point, want to check out to see what's happening with that. Are they using Hit Row as a speed bump to launch Legado del Fantasma? Or is it going to be a situation to where Hit Row has something up their sleeve? We obviously know they're not going to swerve the crowd, but we definitely know that something has to be happening. Hit Row was good. Yes, they're good now, but they were a lot better with Swerve. Swerve is not an option. So who do you get? And that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think it's so interesting how and of course it makes sense because I mean you have people who have Fox might not necessarily have cable to watch NXT, But it's just interesting, like when Legado comes out and hearing their music, I'm waiting for like the crowd to sing along with Delgado, and it was nothing. And I'm like, did no one not know the routine? And
It
it's
shows you
amazing.
how few people watch NXT.
Yeah,
a lot of people do.
yeah. So I guess you really do have to be kind of careful how you introduce them onto the main scene. And that might be exactly what they're doing with Hit Row. They just, they're going to be the fall guys right now to help build up Legado, because we know Legado is dope. You know what I mean? So, but they got to get the rest of the fans to buy into that. NXT bought into that, but how are you going to get?
They'll buy in. No.
It's just
No, sir. They will buy in, because if there's one thing I know about Legado del Fantasma, is that they go after fellow luchadors. And when you have a luchador such as Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, eventually their paths will cross, and some shit will happen. And that's why I thought Rey Mysterio was on there in the first freaking place, not to get his chest caved in by Gunther, but I thought he's okay. Look out at the basket. Okay, this makes sense. Okay, you don't want your son to hit you. All right, well they're gonna hit you. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our best in show. All right, I'll jump over to you, Sin City, man. What was your best show of the week?
AEW Dynamite. From that beginning match of Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry, which they're billing him as Jungle Boy Jack Perry now.
Okay.
So they're actually throwing the shoot name into it. Elsewhere, I mean, you had the Swerve and Billy Gunn match. You had that killer Page and Moxley promo. The Jericho Danielson match, which we kind of glossed over, really shouldn't have. That match was absolutely great. I've said it numerous times on the show. Moxley, Danielson, Jericho, Claudio, you could just put those guys into a round robin tournament, put one match from each of it on each show, and I would be very happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, top to bottom, very solid stuff. Including that All Atlantic title match as the main event. Just a very solid episode of Dynamite.
Okay. Oh, this one was tough for me. It was definitely just between Raw and SmackDown, and I probably would edge it onto SmackDown. Again, I love when you start the show where there's always craziness going on that you're trying to figure out, what's happening. We had another car crash accident with Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. Great way to kick off the show. Of course, you're getting more Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, which is, where's this all going to go? Got a chance to see LA Knight because I didn't actually see him when he came out as LA Knight the week before. I guess I was still trying to catch up with everything, but got a chance to see that. And then, of course, I had and of course, how Bray just his realism on the show as well. There was the fatal 4-way match as well. It was overall, it was a really a good show for me. So I'll give it to SmackDown as the edge. How about you, Simon Street, man? What was your best in show?
Man, all I have to say is the streak is over. SmackDown was the better show. Raw, for the last couple weeks, if you've been following the show, has been the streak. But SmackDown from top to bottom, and I'll echo some of the sentiments that was said during the show. Triple H really understands how to do a car wreck scene, and I'm very critical on this. Now, if you watched NXT, there was a car wreck scene that happened a while back. It was about maybe a year ago. Looked really good, right? This one, wow. You had the fender off. The tires were punctured, deflated. There was smoke, or at least steam or smoke coming out. You had a little bit of blood inside the nose of what you call it, Karrion Kross and in Scarlet. So I mean, it was interesting. Way better than what I've seen in this era. Maybe not in the past Attitude Era, because they did a little bit better. But my point is it started off really good. A lot of great matches. back and forth, small moments that matter. Rey Mysterio, that was shocking. Didn't think that was going to happen. But even just that match alone was really good. Great pairing setup. And mentioning things for the cast, saying that Sheamus and Rey Mysterio have never been in a match together. Right. Which is interesting because I was like, I had no idea that ever happened. Small things that matter like that. LA Knight obviously coming out, making us believe that Solo Sikoa was actually going to win that match, because if you watched NXT, Solo Sikoa and Gunther was fire in NXT, thinking we might see it again. So taking a lot of things from everybody to get you to really engage, and that's what it was for me this week. So SmackDown really had me, and then obviously at the end, Bray Wyatt. There's a lot more that I will talk about that, in our 3 count show, but on how I feel about that. But man, that hands down SmackDown.
All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. This is our wrestling talk show. We do have our 3 count coming up next. If you're watching this live, just make sure that you're following us so that when we jump on, you will be able to click right back on with us. If you don't watch us live, then and you download, we appreciate you. This will be this episode will be released Monday. 3 count, of course, will be released on Tuesday, but you're going to get 3 downloads tomorrow. We had an interview with Chris Bay. We had an interview with Kenny King, and of course, Wrestling 3 count. And the reason why we are talking to them, because if you don't know, Impact Wrestling is going to be in Las Vegas at the end of this week. All right, Friday and Saturday night. What would be the dates? Is it the 21st, 22nd? See if I can pull it up.
Yeah. Friday the 21st, Saturday the 22nd.
Exactly.
And then you got Mecca, FSW Mecca, the next day on the 23rd.
That's right. It's a weekend of wrestling, folks. So if you happen to be here in town or can get nearby, just come up here. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a great time. So check out the interviews and enjoy. So with that, we will see you back next week. We hope to have Mr. Matt Michaels back, and we're going to get him through this program. And I think he's going to be all right,
Oh, yeah.
So then, happy wrestling.